Welcome, welcome, welcome. I am your host, Leah MC, and it is such a pleasure to be back on with you all tonight. I am super excited. And you know me, I don't like to belabor the point. I just love to bring our guest on up so that they can be the majority, right, of this conversation. And so this evening, without any delay, I want to bring up such a special woman. Her name is Miss Kelissa Bass, and she is coming to you from Ypsilanti, Michigan. Ypsilanti, Michigan, but she has traversed the nation side. But we're starting from here this evening. And so, if you would please put in the chat and welcome. Let's give a hand clap. Let's say a hello to Miss Kelissa Bass. How are you? How are you, Kelissa?
I'm doing
There
well.
we
Thanks for
go. There
having
we
me.
go. Yeah. How are you,
I'm
sis?
doing well. Thank you so much for having me. Wow. That was an amazing intro. I love it. That was so cute. I was listening to the music while I was on hold.
Listen, I saw you in the back. You was back there
Oh, did you?
grooving. I love it. I absolutely love it.
Yeah, I had to
But
get the energy felt good.
no, I love that. I love it. I try to, have something uplifting to get the energy to kind of
Hmm
shake off
hmm
nerves for the
That's
guests.
right. That's
And
right.
look, and for myself, I'm gonna be real. I'm human, right? And
Right.
so I appreciate wholeheartedly you coming on to the show.
Okay. Well, thank you.
Normally, no, no, thank you. You are the guest. You are
I'm
here.
so honored to be here. I
Yeah.
thought it was absolutely an honor for you to ask me. And I was like, and then you have so much to talk about,
Oh,
and you have a lot that you're doing. So I'm like, networking is amazing,
yeah,
getting to
yeah.
know
It
other
was such
amazing
a
people.
blessing running into you the other day. Actually, I heard about you before I met you, and it was
Oh,
all
yeah.
good. It was
Okay.
all good.
Okay.
Yeah, it
Well,
was.
wonderful. That's good. We have a lot of work to do.
Yeah, yeah, absolutely. And just for our listening audience, we're from around the same area and are out here doing some great work trying to
Hmm
uplift our community.
That's
And
right.
so, again, it was a great honor and a great pleasure to have met you the other evening and to have just some intro conversation
Yes.
around the area of DV, right?
hmm
So,
hmm
you shared that you were a survivor, and
Yes.
I'm a facilitator of domestic violence courses. And so we kind of made that connection right there on the spot, which was amazing.
Yeah. My
Yeah.
story's the kind of it takes a kind of a little a pivot, I believe, when it comes to not domestic violence isn't real because it is, if you don't mind me saying.
Oh, yeah. No.
However, because we are creators, we're energetic beings. So sometimes we are unknowingly creating situations and things that are happening to us because we are the ones that are creating it. And it sounds crazy, but you
Yeah.
can actually bring these things upon yourself because you are a creator. We need to get away from thinking that we're manifestors. No one ever told us that we're manifestors. You can manifest, but you're not a manifester. You're a creator first.
Yeah. Yeah.
So so that is what you do all day, every day. You're creating your energy, your aura, you're a big computer. And so you're creating, and everything that you download into your system, unfortunately, if it has anything to do with violence, if you don't catch it early, like when I was younger and I saw my mother going through it and getting beat up, if you don't catch that emotion or that feeling, the fear of it, then it will spiral into playing out into your life the same way. And
Yeah.
then
Yeah.
so then you start thinking, oh, this is generational. No, it isn't. You're a creator and you were creating that. And it sounds uh it sounds like I'm being like I'm not being sympathetic to
Mm.
women who go through domestic violence, and it's not that. It's just that
Mhm.
as a domestic violence speaker, I need people to my ladies to understand that you can stop this. You have the power to stop this. And
Mhm.
so you have to stop uh, creating it for yourself. You know, basically do some small things. You can start out small, telling yourself you're pretty, telling yourself you're worthy, that I am, that I'm confident. Start telling yourself these things. Look at yourself in the mirror. It works in less than 10 days. Look at yourself in the mirror every day in the morning and tell yourself what if you don't believe it, I don't care if you look at yourself and you look a hot mess. Tell yourself anyway. Within
I
10
love
days, you're
that.
gonna look in that mirror and you're gonna see a whole different you. Why?
Wow.
Because you're a creator. You don't get what you want, you get what you are. And you have to
Yeah.
feel
Wow.
what you are.
Wow. And you're touching on some things that we're definitely going to delve into this evening. And
Okay.
it aligns beautifully, right, with the thought of just the podcast in and of itself, right? So
Correct.
we are always kind of looking at that core, right? The core
Okay.
of that individual. And you
Hmm.
said a couple of things, and I'm going to kind of roll it back a little bit. But
Okay.
you spoke to the part of being a creator, right? A
Yeah.
creator of what is. And we know that a lot of times, and you spoke on the feelings of unworthiness.
Right.
A lot of times, right? We don't feel so good about ourselves because of
Whose fault is that?
situations.
Who's no, no, no. That's I'm
Hmm.
deliberate creator. Excuse me for cutting you off, but
Yeah, no, it's okay.
um it's truth that we're speaking to one another. So I can't
Hmm.
so it's not that you're lying to me. It's the spirit that's trying to protect you from me. Because that if you are feeling, I heard Cat Williams say this a long time ago. If you
Hmm.
have low self-esteem and you say, my boyfriend, my baby daddy, my baby mama, whatever you want to call it, make
Hmm.
me feel bad about myself. You're the fool. You're the dummy because
Mm.
it's your self-esteem. It's called self-esteem for a reason. So it's
Yeah, but
how
if
you
you let
feel
me,
about you. It's how
yeah.
you feel about you. Your
Mhm.
low disposition about how you feel and how you talk to yourself, absolutely not. You get your baby, you take care of your baby, you're gonna make sure you wash it, you clean it, you lotion it, blah, 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 blah. Mothers have done it, I've done it. When did
Mhm.
we stop doing that? We stopped doing it
Mhm.
when the baby got probably around 1, 2, 3 years old, right?
Mhm.
That's
So
not
I
how
guess where I
that
was going though,
oh
Kelissa, is that I think that that comes with awareness, right? And so if one is unaware that they possess the ability to create their realities, they succumb to the voices, the actions of another, right? So
I
if
get
when you
that.
come into the world, you come in
Right,
as a baby and it's a clean slate, right?
correct.
So everything that we get is kind of downloaded from
That's
the
right.
environment
The
and from
environment,
those
correct.
that are in our lives, right? And so I want to
That's
bring
right.
up right now this beautiful picture of this beautiful baby. And I always start out with my guests, kind of starting from right the earlier childhood years. So,
Yes.
if you could share with us, this is you, about how
Uh-huh.
old
That's
were you
me.
in this photo?
3 years old.
Wow, wow,
Yes, I was
three.
3. Ooh.
My
And
grandbaby is about to turn 3 next week, so I'm looking and
oh
I'm like,
wow.
oh wow, yeah,
I was
yeah,
think every time I look at that picture, I'm like, what in the world was I thinking about? Because I think a lot and I
yeah,
see myself really in deep thought there.
yeah, wow.
But I
Even
figured
at
it
the
out
age of 3.
early this year. I figured out what I was thinking about. So I
Okay.
was like, wow, it's
Yeah.
interesting that someone who used to live with my uncle
Mhm.
and my grandmother when they first moved here back in the 60s.
Mhm.
Um, he said he was going through his he came up from the south and they let him stay with them and then he got a job at General Motors and then he moved out. But he was looking through his photo album and he found some pictures of me with my uncle and he sent it to me and I was like, wow, interesting. He found me on Facebook and he asked me, did I know? He asked me about my mother's name, my uncle, my grandmother, and I was like, oh yeah, because I don't know any of my family. So then,
Mhm.
uh, so then he was like, he ended up telling me the story about how he knew them, and then he had a picture of my grandmother and my uncle as well. And I was
Okay.
like, wow, that was amazing. But that's the only picture I've ever had of myself when I was younger.
Wow. Wow. So, when you say that you uncover the thought of a
Right,
3-year-old, a lot of times individuals, it's very hard for them to kind of search, through past thoughts and
right,
reach 3 years
mhm,
of age.
right.
That's pretty amazing to be able to look at this and have that unlocked for you, right? Because
Yes,
we know memories are embedded, it's in us. The body keeps
hmm
the score, right?
that's right.
And so just off of looking at that photo, it how many years back, or was it just recently after looking at the photo were you unable, I mean, you were able to uncover?
I'm gonna say recently, probably in the past 6 months, I figured
Mm,
it out because I've had that picture since 2015, 2016ish, and
okay.
I just had it. And when you see the bigger picture of it, I'm standing there with my uncle holding his hand, and there's
Mhm.
some those shoes they wore back in the 60s. They have some brown leather shoes with the little uh frilly socks. That's what the whole
Mhm.
picture looks like. But the ground we're standing on is a lot of dirt and rocks and things of that nature. So I'm thinking to myself, what, they didn't have pavement back then, where were we, because it's old
Mhm.
picture.
Yeah.
And so when I started researching the time and when it was taken and how old I was, I'm like, oh wow, that's what happened. I found out that my little sister, we were at her funeral, and
Wow.
she was not even a year old. She had passed away, and by the hands of my stepfather. He had smothered her with a pillow, and my
Oh my.
oldest brother saw him do it, and so he was telling my mother what happened, like telling her what my stepfather did, and
Mm.
then she did like this to him, like don't say anything. And so
Wow.
and I've always had that thought, like I knew she was scared to say something to him, but still, I think I would have said something. I don't know if I
Mhm.
would have or not. So,
Yeah.
but that
Yeah.
was my thought all my life. But now that I'm older, I understand a whole lot more about my life and which direction I'm going, who I am. Uh, I have a lot more grace on my mother and
Mhm.
other uh, women older than I am because she had 4 children and she lost 3 of them, and she
Wow.
still was able to hold on to some of her sanity.
Wow. Wow.
And so we
Wow.
never know. And she was shot in the head when I was 7, and so you never know what a person is going through. But I have a lot more understanding, um, in understanding that everyone has everyone is going to go through something.
Yeah. Yeah.
By golly, I don't know why hers was so treacherous and horrible, but back in the 70s, it was a drug epidemic and what people are going through then. And
Yeah.
I had to even pull needles out of my mom's arm when she was asleep at night. And, because I didn't want her to know that I had seen her like that. And that's another reason why I never wanted to ever try drugs. So, I just the things I saw when I was younger and the things I was the type of adults I was around is what kind of shaped me. But I also believe that uh, when I was when I went to the religious cult, that
Mhm.
also shaped who I am today.
Yeah. Yeah.
A lot
So
of
before we get there, Kalisa, I want us to kind of like slow it down. Um,
okay. I didn't. How much
yeah.
time do we have?
Oh, so we are on typically about an hour.
Okay, okay,
Um,
okay.
so
Most
yeah.
shows be kind of like rushing it on through. Like, come on.
And oh no, no, no. I want us to, really be able to
Okay,
kind of
okay.
sit in space and just kind of have a
Kind of walk
conversation.
through it a
So,
little. Okay,
yeah,
sounds good.
yeah,
Conversations.
yeah, yeah. So I appreciate again for you and your willingness to share, right?
Okay.
With transparency and openness. And so when you were talking about, again, those early memories of being 3 and observing
Hmm.
grief, right? And loss in the presence, right? Of you as a young child and remembering that there were almost like it felt like some secrets, right? When mom said, shh, what do you think that was? Was it um for
Oh,
fear
I
that some
always,
additional harm would happen,
yeah,
or
of course. We all knew. I knew exactly what she meant. Kevin did too. So we didn't say anything. Um, so yeah, we knew not to say anything. I mean, he was a madman.
wow, okay. And
Yeah,
so when you say that he was a madman, kind of, I know in our conversation, and we didn't talk very much because I shared I wanted this to be an organic conversation and I wanted to learn, right? So I didn't want to get all of the information and conversation beforehand.
yeah. Okay,
So you had mentioned something to me though that around the age of 5, something occurred, right? So we're starting out at 3 with heaviness, with grief, seeing right pain in the family system from someone that should have been the protector.
correct. Right.
When 5 years of age occurred, how did life change for you? I often call it like the little worm in our apple.
I don't want to. I don't feel like it changed.
Okay.
It almost seemed like it just went almost like downhill, if you will. Like it just kept having its ups and downs
Okay.
with different things that happened. And I believe that was the age around when I was introduced to alcohol
Mm,
for sexual purposes with my stepfather, and he would make me do things with my mother, and it was just, I guess, the drugs, the alcohol, and I guess I was supposed to calm me down or kind of get me in the mood or whatever. So that's what it was used for. But I definitely remember um, that's that's the age I started drinking alcohol
my
and
word.
why.
5 years of age, the
Yeah,
introduction of alcohol when legally 21, right, is supposed to be the stated
the
age.
alcohol. What about the infidel? I mean the molestation. That's
Absolutely.
horrible.
Yeah.
I mean, not only alcohol, but
Yeah.
that, and then on top of that, with your mother. That's. I mean, you have to be sick. You
Yeah.
know.
Yeah.
Yeah. So, and you know what I do now, and I want to
Mhm.
say,
Yeah.
when I do, I can talk about those things, but that's
Yeah.
not who I am.
Oh, yeah,
That's
absolutely.
who I used to be. I'm saying this because I don't that was a memory that um I don't try to bring up to remember it anymore. It
Yeah.
was a part of another, we get a new body every 11 months. So
Yeah.
whoever she was and whatever she went through, she got through it. She's part of me. She's here in my heart. She's safe now. And
Yeah.
so I tried not to even, go back reminiscing about
Yeah.
things like that because I don't want to bring it in my presence, especially that feeling. You know what I
Yeah.
mean?
Yeah, absolutely. And I honor that wholeheartedly.
Yeah,
Right. And we have one of our guests in the audience that says you had no control, right? When you were a
correct.
baby, when you were a child. And Mary Judy, you are totally correct when you say that. A lot of people, unfortunately, they will wear that as if it was their fault,
Correct.
and it's not. It
I think
truly
I
is.
did for a while. Because I didn't understand as a child, you're wondering, I understood my mother was on drugs and I'm thinking making her
Mhm.
participate in this because I'm a child. I know she's scared of him. I see how he's beating her up and all that. So I'm thinking,
Yeah.
well, yeah, he's making her do it. And I believe that excuse rode me out until I had my daughter at 29.
Okay.
And once I held my daughter, it was like I had this rage come over me
Yeah.
towards
Wow.
my mother
Mhm.
because my stepfather was already gone. And he passed away in an apartment in Ypsilanti, and no one found his body for 2 weeks. But,
Wow.
that was him. That's the life he lived out. However, I had rage because when I looked at my daughter, I thought to myself, I would kill somebody to even suggest such a thing.
Yeah.
So either, you know, the drugs, you were so out of your mind, and I'm not speaking again on my mother. What I'm saying is,
Mhm.
I realize that you have to be so, something has to be so, um, someone is controlling your mind, some entity, some spirit, some something, some
Yeah.
whatever you want to call it, is controlling you so much to the point that you would hurt your own child. It's
Yeah.
like eating your own baby up or something.
Yeah.
Yeah,
Yeah.
and it's uh so of course I didn't understand, and that's when I started asking more questions, because I wanted to know how does this happen? Because there's no way in the world I could do something like that. But
Yeah.
I don't know what kind of torture. He did shoot her in the head when I was 7, so maybe she was really terrified of him. And I
Yeah.
remember going down to the it used to be a shelter down there behind Dairy Queen, that street that Dairy Queen is on off Michigan Ave.
Okay.
The
Over.
SOS. It was the
Yeah.
SOS.
Yeah. Mm-hmm.
Yes. So she would go down there, and I guess we would leave, but she would go down there and try to get help. But back then, they were always trying to help you save your marriage,
Mm.
not understanding. I did learn that my stepfather,
Uh-oh.
he was having us doing, um,
You're going in and out, Kelissa. Your volume and your photo has gone in and out. And so I'm gonna send her a message and maybe she can go out and then come back in. So if our audience can just bear with us, you know, me and technology on COREversations, it tries to get me almost every time. We entered into this one pretty okay. And then now we are underway amidst the conversation and we are having tech issues. So please stay with us. So she's gone out. Hopefully she will enter back in. But one thing that I did want to, there she is. She's back.
um,
There you go. There
oh
you
my
go.
goodness, my daughter, she wouldn't. Oh my God, they would just keep calling and calling and call. I'm like, you can't. Anyway,
Yeah. So,
so I had to learn. But I ultimately I had to learn to forgive her, forgive me, and forgive me for not. It just I think it came with age. I think that's where it was, because when I was younger, I felt like once that hit my brain, I was out to get her, and I
yeah.
had to, before she passed away. There wasn't anything I wouldn't do for her. I wanted
Mhm.
us to go to Al-Anon and try to talk through it. And she felt like I got straight with God. I got it straight with God. And
Okay.
so she never wanted to talk about it. And I think that's a
Mhm.
cop out, because you didn't
Mm.
do it to God. You
Yeah,
did it to
yeah.
me.
Wow, that
I
was
had
powerful. That's
yes, a
powerful
stepmother.
because
I
yeah.
mean, not a stepmother, a godmother who I
Mhm.
followed down to the Holy Land.
Okay.
And I wanted to ask her some questions too. Same excuse. I got it
Wow.
straight with God. Well, it didn't happen to God. It happened to me.
I mean, and again, what you're saying is very powerful, right? Because a lot of times we talk about the reconciliation, right? And that
Hmm.
desire for being saved, right? The salvation for
Right.
your soul, right? Later on. But the persons that have been negatively hurt, adversely hurt in regards to said relationship, right? Whether it be
Hmm.
mother, child, father, child, whomever,
Okay.
that also needs to be reconciled as well because it lives on within the individual. And it's in my mind's eye, Kelissa, and you let me
Okay.
know. I
Okay.
don't think that it's really fair for me to have to carry that and not have the opportunity to have that person admit to the things that were wrong and what they saw that was hurtful or done that was hurtful. What's your thoughts?
I think that I do think that someone should say, I do videos online and I talk about the things that happen to me within the community.
Mm-hmm.
These are adults. We're all grown now. What you
Mm-hmm.
did to me when I was younger, And though
Mhm.
you may say you're sorry, you're not showing that you're sorry. In fact, you're
Okay.
showing the total opposite. Social workers, uh, fathers of children, all this crazy drug lord gang stuff, all this crap. I wasn't in that mess. So how did I get caught up in it where I'm getting beat down in the middle of the street? You know,
Wow. Wow.
it's just it's madness. And then for Miss Williams, the social worker, you knew that the foster mother's son-in-law had was messing with me, and I reported to her because she didn't want Miss Smith to lose her job. Oh, you're old enough to handle something like this. How many other children are you telling this?
Yeah. Yeah.
So
Absolutely.
it's a lot of things. Yeah, I can say they should apologize, but do I even want to hear it? Because if you're not on an energetic level where you feel like you should come forward yourself and say, you know
Mm,
what, that was pretty messed up what I did, then I don't want to hear it. I don't want to beg you for an apology. I'd rather just get over it myself, rise above it, and then
yeah.
continue on with my life like you never existed.
Yeah, yeah, yeah. No, and I honor that too, right? Sometimes it just isn't the right time or it's not the right way in presentation, and so sometimes, everything isn't accepted and should not be
Everyone
accepted if it isn't
does
brought
what
forth
they
the
what
right
they
way.
want. You give people
Yeah.
a chance to do, they'll do what they want to do. Let them give them the opportunity to choose. And
Yeah.
if they choose not to, then that's what they really wanted to do. Period.
Yeah, absolutely. So in this experience, right, with the nuclear family, right? So with mom and stepdad, would you say that that had a negative impact on how you saw yourself years ago? Not who you are today, but when we're looking at core negative beliefs, a lot of times when we look at domestic violence and the study of it, they say that the children may either, especially through observation of DV,
Mhm.
they either become a perpetrator themselves of harm onto others, or they
Correct.
become a victim, right?
Correct.
With others. So when you look back before being the woman that you are today, would you say that it kind of ruptured how you saw yourself, as far as how you kind of grappled with who you were or your belief about yourself?
Yes, it had a direct distinction only because I feel like you are what your environment is. And so
Mhm.
me seeing the beatings and uh, going through molestation and seeing him, making me play his friends for chess so that he could win money and all this other craziness that was going on. He
Yeah.
also instilled in us about reading, and
Mhm.
we had to know the state, the capital of that state, what the flower was, what the bird was. We had to know all the alphabets. We were like reading encyclopedias, which is probably the reason why I research and read the way I do now. No, I'm pretty sure it is
Okay.
because that was a part of training me as well.
Yeah.
However, with the domestic violence, like I said, I I was so fearful saying to myself, I'm not going to have anyone like that. Anyone who's a murderer, I knew he was a murderer. He killed my little sister and tried to
Yeah.
kill my mother.
Yeah.
Abuser, I know you were an abuser, and molester. So I didn't want either one of those.
Yeah.
And then
Yeah.
I literally, because the universe, however you got into the situation, unknowingly, you still are creating it when you say that I don't want that. So I'm saying I don't want a murderer, I don't want a molester, I don't want an abuser. I'm going to make
Yeah.
sure I steer clear of them. But that is not how creation works. You don't
Mm.
get what you are, you don't get what you want, you get what you are and what you feel. So my
Okay.
dominant feeling was fear, false evidence appearing real. Nothing happened to me, but the fear of what someone would do to me. Like I
Mhm.
didn't want that to happen to me, that was happening to
Mhm.
my mother. He would call us down in the middle of the night just so we can stand here and watch him beat her. What kind of craziness is that? And why do we have to be looking at it, right? So
Absolutely.
it's all of this going on. But I ended up choosing men who were murderer, abuser, molester. I
Mm.
literally ended up picking those type of men. And when I sit back and look at it now, it's because I literally created it. It doesn't
Mm,
matter how you got thrown into the environment, you are
yeah,
still unknowingly creating it.
yeah, yeah. I
So
often say,
you're
right,
doing
we
it. And
need
if
the
someone doesn't
mirror.
catch
Yeah,
you, if someone doesn't catch you before the momentum gets to going, then everything else is a consequence of whatever you are creating.
yeah,
So
yeah,
when I go into a relationship, when I used to rather, I'm 7 years and counting peacefully,
yeah.
seven and a
Mm-hmm.
half years rather. But when
Okay.
I uh I would, always in the back of my mind think, oh God, I hope they're not abusive. I hope they're not abusive. You're creating it when you think that.
Yeah, yeah,
So
yeah.
it's like we don't know that we're creating this. And I do feel like growing up around that definitely did have a impact on how I saw myself. My youngest daughter said the other day that my oldest daughter's face had gotten a little chunkier. She had gained a little weight because she's
Mm-hmm.
tiny. And
Okay.
she said she looks just like you. And I was like, she never looked like me. I never thought I was that pretty.
Mm-hmm.
And then my other daughter was like, huh? And so this is the thought that was going on in my mind.
Yeah,
Why is it that she feels like she's pretty and I never thought I was? So then I start thinking about environment because
yeah,
I told her she was. I
yeah,
understood that I was creating another being. And
yeah.
you have mothers who are calling their kids out of their names, and you
Oh, yeah.
just like your daddy. You're just a sorry so and so. No, you are creating this. And if you don't
Absolutely.
create right by the time they're 7 years old, that's all you get.
Oh yeah, absolutely, absolutely. So what you talking about is those formative years, right?
Yeah,
Those
so
early
you got to get in
childhood.
there and make sure
Yeah,
they know it. I mean, oh my goodness, look at you. You are adorable because you're
absolutely,
creating. You are literally replicating yourself the same way our creator did.
absolutely, absolutely.
So then
So
we're just all different experiences of God experiencing himself in all of us, which makes us one. We're not separate. That's what they want us
yeah,
to think we're separate. We're not
yeah,
separate.
yeah, yeah, yeah,
And until
yeah.
we
I'm
go
with you.
within and realize that and find out the truth of who we are, we're going to keep creating crazily.
Wow, wow. Now I'm gonna pull this up here. This is your book, Behind Closed Doors. And you had
Yeah.
talked just briefly, and I wanted to kind of slow you down right before you began to talk about the Holy Land, right?
Yeah.
If you would kind of give us a bit into kind of the transition from mom and dad's home, right,
Okay. Okay.
into adulthood, or was it even adulthood when you made it to the Holy Land? Give us a little bit about the backdrop of this story behind closed doors after mom and stepdad's input.
Okay.
Yeah.
My mother had gone to prison for embezzlement, and I was staying with different people in Ypsilanti. Then I ended up, I went to school one day. At that time, I was at West Middle School, and that's when they took me into custody. So I was staying in foster care, and then one of the first foster mother, Tawana and Algie had done something to one of the kids, and then she lost all the kids, and I was one of them. So we went to Hazel Smith out off of Willis Road, Oak Road in Willis, Michigan. That is where this situation happened with me, and then the social worker didn't want me to say anything, so I ran away, came back to Ipsy, and then the situation happened with the murder, which we probably don't have time to go all into that. My mother's best friend, which I recently, in a couple like last years, found out that they actually knew what happened in terms of how the young lady was murdered. And so I was thinking, I happened to run into some church people that she was going to church with, and they put me in touch with Denise. And then she said for me to come down there with her. I'm thinking that I'm going to her home because, she always had a home. So when I got down there, it was actually a church that I was escorted to. Um, I was met by Sister Davis, very nice, beautiful woman, always was. And that's when I learned that I was actually at a church. They had a compound which was in Alabama. Started living there, going on the route. The route was where we traveled all around the country, and sat out in front of the stores from sun up to sundown, raising money for abused children. At first, we would pass out peanut brittle and I think it was peanuts and peanut brittle, right, when I first went down there. And then we scaled off to candy and sometimes nothing. We were just out collecting money. Once there were like 6 to 8 groups out in the summer times, it was more. Once the groups all came back together, they pulled their money together, what everyone gathered that day, and then we all sent it back to Meridian.
So let me ask, you said something about a social worker. So I'm a social worker by trade,
Okay.
and we are mandated reporters. So am I hearing you say that there was some improprieties that were occurring and that was overlooked by a social worker that was a part of your life? Is that what
Yes,
I'm hearing?
that is what you're hearing. Yes. She
Okay.
specifically, she came out to Miss Smith's house because I didn't want to tell Miss Smith about what Zachary was doing. And I just had it up to here with him because it was like he kept blackmailing me, Do this or I'm gonna do this or and I just was like, okay, I'm gonna do it or whatever he wanted me to do. Well, he came to pick me up from my mother's because she had gotten out of prison and had visitation that weekend. Instead
Mm-hmm.
of Miss Smith coming to get me, she sent Zachary to come and get me. So when we're on Bunton Road, headed back home, he wanted to start, filling on me and stuff. And I kind of,
Now,
I
is
had
that
kind of,
stepdad? Is that
no,
stepdad?
this was my foster mother's son-in-law.
Okay. And about how old were you at this time?
At that time, I was 16
Okay. Okay.
because I went there when I was 15. So I was
Okay.
16 when I went there. And so so when I told him well, actually while I was going back and forth to Ipsy, I quote unquote thought I found a boyfriend and fell in love, right?
Okay.
And so I didn't want him touching me anymore. I was kind of like fed up with it. So I called myself standing up to him, like, no, don't touch me type stuff, right?
Yeah.
He puts me out of the car on Bunton Road. And I'm
Out
like,
in the
oh my
country.
God. Yes, I don't know what's going to come up to get me or what. So I'm all scared. He finally came back and got me. I told him I wasn't going to say anything, but when I got to their house, I let him go upstairs with Lisa, which was Miss Smith's daughter, and I went in there and I told Miss Smith, and she said she wasn't going to say anything. But of course, I don't know why I didn't listen to her, but one day I came home from school and Miss Williams was there, so
Okay.
she wanted me to tell her what happened and what had Zachary done, this, that, and the other. So we had a talk and everything. I'm thinking I'm getting ready to get moved because I wanted to move anyway, to be closer to Ipsy so I could see my boyfriend. And
Mm-hmm.
she said, well, Lisa, Miss Smith has really done a lot, with taking me. It was me and my brother, Tony Ray and Tony Pittman. So, and she had done it was nothing that Miss Smith did. She was a wonderful foster mother. Um, And then when she finished saying, she said, but we really feel like you're old enough to handle something like this. She's going to talk to him. He's not going to bother you anymore. I was livid. I don't know if I was more livid because I wasn't getting moved or if I was mad because are you kidding me? I'm old enough to handle
Right.
something like this because I'm thinking to myself, you're supposed to protect me.
Right.
So now
Absolutely.
here, I'm in the system. You're not going to protect me here. I'm not protected out there. It's like, what? Are you kidding me? So,
Yeah.
no, I have no respect for you.
So once the transition into the Holy Land, which was the compound in Alabama, how long did you remain there? And was it a more like palatable space to live? How was that?
Let me see. Okay. I'd left when I was 29.
Okay.
So I've been there 13 years.
Okay.
However, so when it's like a dorm type living.
Okay.
So you would walk in like the girls' dorm would have the single women there, whether they were older or younger. The older women would have a room, to themselves, and the single women, they had like 20, 25 beds lined up on each side with
Mm,
shift rows on the front where you could put your clothes, dressers on the side. So everyone had their side of the bed that they would, sometimes you slept with someone else and sometimes you would have a bed to yourself. So it would just
okay.
depend. And that would be on one side of the dorm. And then when you walk through the hallway, there was like a seating area where there were couches, TVs. Well, we weren't able to watch, we weren't allowed to watch TV. Um, but it was a seating area where you can go sit and, if you want to just sit, rest, read a book or whatever. And then you had the bathroom over here. You walk in there, and it's kind of like a school bathroom, right? Where they have the row
Yeah.
of sinks and then the showers, the
Power.
toilets, and all that. And then you go on the other side of the dorm, which was this designed the same way as the other side. It's just those were for the children, and I believe it was 13 and under. I believe may have,
Okay.
yeah, something like that. But anyway, those were the younger girls were. So in the morning, everyone hit the floor between somewhere between 3 and 5. And then
In the
so
morning?
in the morning, I don't care if you
For
got
the
off at the
purpose
restaurant,
of what?
huh?
For the purpose of what at 3 a.m.?
That was, first of all, there was a lot of people getting up
Okay.
at one time. People were
Okay.
already in the kitchen, the food was already done. So that's before you even got up out the bed. There were people already in the kitchen, breakfast was done, biscuits, sausage, bacon, grits, eggs, all of that was already done by the time you hit the floor. So every worker had their place, which is crazy because I'm gonna go back to it. No, let me stay here because I don't want to forget. But Bishop used to say he's a son of a sharecropper.
Okay.
But when you look up at how the sharecropper he sets his land up with the babysitters and who does this, he did the same thing. He set the whole thing up the same way. So if you had a kid, by the time the child was 6 months, 6 weeks old, it had to go to the nursery, so you can go back to work.
Mm,
So
mm,
there was no bonding with your child.
okay. And
Someone else was
so,
bonding with your child. So
okay.
once you get up, you go eat breakfast. If you help comb the girls' hair, because when they get up, they get their hair combed, and then
Hmm.
everyone gets dressed, shower, go eat their food, and then everyone's off to whatever job they're supposed to go to. And this is like, depending on the year, between 200 and 500 people at one time. So there's a lot of people there.
Wow. Wow. So it was a whole full-fledged
Hmm.
system, a
Yes,
well-oiled machine.
yes, yes, yes,
Wow.
yes.
And
However,
so, okay.
and I honestly, now that I'm older, I never thought that what Bishop, the idea of Mark 10:28, I don't, well, hold up, let me not use that because I never thought the idea of what he was trying to do for us as a people was bad.
Mhm.
What
Okay.
I thought was bad were the people that he had in place and the things that they were doing and being allowed to get away with. That's what I thought was bad.
Mm. So from a leadership perspective, you kind of honored, right, the premise of having a space
Mhm.
for our people to go, to live, to cultivate and grow,
To have
right?
our own space, have our own fruit land. We grew our own vegetables, our own fruits. We had our own animals, our own businesses. We had our own meat processing plants. I mean, we had it,
Wow. Wow.
and it was going well. But I'm telling you, if you don't treat the children of God right, He'll snatch all that stuff from you.
Oh,
You have to
absolutely.
treat people right. And
Yeah.
so many people were mistreated. You cannot, and for you to keep someone in the same position, knowing they're mistreating someone else, you can't do that because
Yeah,
in
yeah.
the Bible it says, I will throw you in a river and put
He
something
said,
around your
pile
neck,
a
baby.
millstone around your neck if
Thank
you
you.
mess with his children. Absolutely.
And when those 6 children died, that was total negligence. I don't care what nobody say, because with all the money that we brought in, there's no way in the world those children should have had maids and servants working for them. There was enough money, but they want to be cheap black folk and
Mm,
not have no maids and servants helping them children. It wasn't enough people to watch those children. You can't
wow.
have one or two people watching 40, 50 kids. That's
Oh,
craziness
absolutely not. Yeah,
because you're
absolutely
going
not.
to miss somebody. So it's a lot of that craziness that was going on that nobody wants to admit to. But if you would have just did the things the right way, then
Mhm.
it would have worked out. If you would have treated people right, maybe people would have stayed.
So in the earlier time of you getting there, I mean, was there ever a time that you were okay and just enjoyed being in space at the compound?
No, because I didn't have family there.
Okay.
And
Okay.
so when Denise ended up leaving, um, I looked at her. This is my godmother, right?
Yeah.
And so she had two other children, Kyle and Azar.
Okay.
So it was my responsibility when she left. She was supposed to be coming back. I didn't know she was going to be gone for 3, 4 years, but she left because she ended up having a baby by Bishop.
Okay.
And so while she was gone, I felt obligated to be there for Azar and Kyle.
Okay.
And no, I didn't feel like no, no. And some of those people down south are horrid, evil people.
Mm.
And
Wow.
and they don't care if you don't have nobody or not. They will treat you like pure crap. Some of them, not all of them,
Yeah.
but
Yeah.
some of them, yeah, they did a number on some people.
Wow.
However, aside from that, I can
Mhm.
still try to understand today that some of them were hurting as well. Hurt people hurt other people. And some of
Mhm.
those people were hurting. They had been going through it for years before I even arrived.
Yeah. Yeah.
So, you know, I don't know. What else were they supposed to do? There was no recreation.
Mm.
I
Does
think
it
we
work
probably had
all the time? Was it like
all
constantly
the
working?
time. When I first went down there, we were on the route, like they would go during the week, off on the weekend. Then
Mhm.
we were on the route, and we would be out for 3 or 4 months at a time. So I didn't really see my son grow up because every time I see him, he looked like some other child now because I've been gone away from him so long. However, when the time when you're out for so long, by the time you
Mhm.
come back, like everything is just different. But in terms of recreation, I believe I probably remember us maybe having 3, 4 outings where everyone went to the Decatur Park and then we did horse riding and things of that nature. But no, for the most part, we were always working. And he said, be like the ants, go to
Mm.
the ant, sluggard, you know.
Yeah.
uh,
Yeah.
However, I still go back to when people say or recite those scriptures to me, I want them to go tell me whose Bible did you get that out of? Because we'll sure run to the negative stuff in that Bible quick and quote it with a loud sounding horn, but we won't
Listen.
quote that other stuff that we're supposed to be doing. Save
Kelissa, this is
yourself.
what I say. One of the infamous texts is always honor thy mother and thy father.
Hmm.
But we never, and it goes on, right? That thy days may be
Yes,
long
because
in
and
the
people
land.
would say, yeah, but she did this and he did that. That's not your business.
Yeah, but not even
What
that.
the book
So,
says, it
yeah,
says honor and respect your mother and your father. You do what you're supposed to do. If they did something
yeah,
wrong to you, you let the creator get them. Their karma's gonna come to them. That's not
yeah,
your job. But they didn't do this, they wasn't there, they didn't
mm,
take care of me. Okay, so what? That's on them. Don't you
yeah. But
carry that around.
here's the flip though, because you were saying how people will pull from different parts of the Bible, right? And
Hmm.
so there is also a verse that talks about do not provoke your children to wrath, right? And
That's correct.
so you don't normally hear that being promoted from the pulpit or from whomever the leader is, because there's a desire for children to oftentimes acquiesce. And so I wanted to mention that just to kind of see um, if there was an abuse of power in this space. One of our listening audience members asked, are your children from the bishop of the compound? Um, and so I know you said you left at 29 and your daughter was 29, but it sounds
Mhm.
like you had a child that was older than your daughter.
I
So, uh-huh.
I do have a child that's older than my daughter, and there was a situation that did happen
Wow.
between me and the bishop that I didn't talk about. I talked about it to a few people. And
Okay.
so that story I'm not ready to talk about
To
yet.
talk about. Okay.
Yeah.
And I honor that. I truly do. And thank you for sharing.
I
And
really don't see
again,
the
if
purpose,
there's,
but
yeah.
it, people who know, if you know, you know. Things,
Okay.
yeah.
Well, I guess the reason that I would say, um, I could, because my mind went there too, is like you went there and you were a teen and then you left at 29. You said you were there about 13 years. Um, I guess the mind would say, being in this space with some of the heinous acts that you're speaking of, that potentially, right, something like that,
Yes.
the leadership being corrupt, um yeah, would have done some harm. So but I honor exactly, your desire not to talk any further about that.
What I think it is that when you go through something like
Mhm.
that, either people, the truth is unbelievable.
Yeah.
That's whether it's your truth or the truth about the Bible, the truth of what's not right about the Bible. People are dismiss it all day, every day.
Yeah.
However, when I did take her up there at 3 years.
Okay. Oh, you're on mute.
Okay, is that
I'm
better?
sorry, you said when you took her there at 3 years old.
Yes, and I spoke with him, and I understood what it was. Everyone knows what it is, and keeping it a secret, and it just is what it is. When I was actually working in the office when I was, I don't know, it was my early 20s, and I had one of the ledgers I had was I had to send a check out every month for $400,
Okay.
and I just wasn't, had to write on there who it was for, but I just didn't understand why. So I was thinking to myself, oh, maybe he owns, some stock, or not stock, but at that time I really didn't know about stocks. But I was thinking maybe be the brother who we was writing a check to and who it was for, was was had something to do with the meat processing plant. Well, when I get older and I ended up leaving, I ended up going over this person's house, and I'm not saying their name for
Yeah.
a reason, but
Mhm.
people who know me knows who it is.
Yeah.
Um, so I went over there and I said, "Oh wow, she looks just like Chanel."
Oh,
And she said, "Oh no, no," she said, "That's my daughter," but they look like total twins. And
mm,
so that's when it all started hitting me like, oh my God, that's what the checks were for.
wow. Wow.
Because I guess he was sending money up here, to care for the daughter. And then, to come to find out this one got rid of this one and this one had these over here. And what? Are you kidding me? Even if that was the truth, you
Yeah.
just gonna drop them off and leave?
Wow. Wow.
Well, it seemed like, no, 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 I'm not going to say that, because it seemed like he did take care of them, but maybe that was certain ones he took care of, because there are quite a few of them out here he haven't took one lickety splick of a care for.
Wow. Wow. Now, is there a certain denomination that goes along with the Holy Land?
Apostolic.
Okay. Okay. All right.
Baptism in Jesus' name and the infilling of the Holy Spirit, which I ended up finding out after going on my spiritual journey, that
Mm,
we need to start reading more, because uh if we don't understand about the kundalini and what that is and when it's rising and the feeling that it gives you, because you think we're calling it the Holy Ghost, but it's really your kundalini rising, and that's what everyone is supposed to do. We got to start reading, because at this point it just sounds dumb to say certain things. It makes no sense anymore. We
mm.
have got to start reading.
Oh, excuse me. Excuse me. So, yeah, I mean, the Bible tells us study to show ourselves approved, right? Um,
Yeah.
And so I agree that there is the need to study as well as to try the spirits and
Mhm.
to, make certain that we're at least living according to the guidance that we are praying for, we're asking for, and we're receiving. So I agree with you totally with that. Um, so talk to us a little bit because we're kind of winding down, and
Okay.
again, This has been a very robust, very eye-opening conversation, and I have to be honest, Kelissa, when I think about it, and hear you speaking of it, I don't know if you ever watched this kind of series by Tyler Perry
Tyler
called
Perry. I
called
watched it
Witness.
and it's so real. It's crazy. And it almost makes me think now, it's like when certain things happened, I'm like, whoa, was that happening? It's so close to it. I'm like, does he know someone who was there? Because now, mind you,
Because it's hard to
the way
depict,
that Tyler
right?
Perry has it set up, he has them looking like they were living poorly, but
Hmm.
that is not how we were living. We had like state of the art stuff. We had nice stuff. They didn't take
Okay.
care of it. It got ran down, or they lost it, or it rusted out, or whatever. But
Hmm.
they had nice stuff. The stuff Tyler Perry got them looking like pure rag dolls. That's
Yeah.
not how it was. So that's
Mhm.
the only thing I would say. And I don't believe it wasn't that much abuse either.
Okay. Okay.
Now, maybe behind closed doors,
Mhm.
it was certain people who were abusive to people, but overall, it could have been a really nice place if the people who were supposedly leading had have been leading with their hearts and not with their genitals or their evil spirits.
Yeah. Yeah.
So I
Yeah.
feel like he may have had a good idea, and he
Mhm.
may have. I think it could have gone somewhere, but you have to have the right people around you.
Yeah.
Otherwise, they'll be just like that worm in the apple you were talking about.
Yeah, absolutely.
Hmm.
Absolutely. And we see it in a lot of religions, right? So it's
Hmm.
not
Hmm.
just this
It's not
particular
just that. But listen to
faith.
this.
Mhm.
That religion, okay, listen, Reach Incorporated was a 501c3
Mhm.
organization, which means they're tax exempt, right? So now I
Okay.
understand how they were able to get all the goods and everything because I have a nonprofit now. So I get all that. However, listen, do it if you do your research, there are over 3,700 cults just like that in America that are nonprofit. Now you're not going to tell me that they are not. This is like harvesting people and individuals who could possibly get caught up in the system, or no one cares about, and then
Mhm.
when they, start talking about what happened or what they saw or what was done or what was said, then they're cuckoo. No, you're cuckoo. If you don't realize that there's something else going on out here, and why in the
Mhm.
world is a government uh, overseeing nonprofits that are treating people like this?
Mhm.
Under the guise of God.
I'm with you.
You
I
know.
am with you wholeheartedly. That's why I said it's not just this one religious
Mm-hmm, mm-hmm.
denomination, right?
That's
It
right.
happens and it spans through all of them,
Mm-hmm,
every single one. And I guess the difficult piece of it is, and we started talking about it a little earlier, was the harm that has been done and imposed.
mm-hmm.
Individuals are not, they're not healing the rupture, right? They are avoiding it. They're acting as
Right.
if things are never, had never been done. They leave that heaviness, that pain within the other individual that
Mm.
was the
But
reason.
what do you do? When they come out here, their
Yeah.
families are going to treat them like they're dumb, or they're not going to try to understand. A lot of them have children, and when they come out here, most people are out here in survival mode.
Yeah.
and
Yeah.
and and then you got to understand your children would lived at the nursery, so now
Yeah.
you decided to make a leave, and I'm going to know stand up for myself and get myself out of this mess, and then you get out here and then your family treat you worse than probably they did there. They're
So
not
let me
understanding at
ask
all. So
you.
I didn't have family to depend on like that. I had to get it myself. My
Uh,
mother was here at the time, and she taught me what she taught me. However, there are people who have families out here and they end up having to go right back because they
wow.
don't know, they they weren't
They
taught
have
to pay any
nowhere to.
bills. They never
Wow.
had any money. You might, if you're on the route, you get a $7 to $10 food allowance, but it's not paying no light bill, gas bill, and supposedly this is under the guise of you're rich. You're being treated like royalty. You should
Mm,
still know how to count money and pay bills. You know, that makes no sense, because what you were doing was you were stifling my growth as a human being. I should still be able to have a license at 29, you know? So it was a
Yeah.
lot of things but this was just to keep you just bound in that certain mental prison is what it was.
Yeah, it sounds almost like the carceral system, right?
It
Starts
is
out
exactly.
with juvenile justice, and our children are put over in these spaces for years and years, right? Some grow up
Yeah.
system, and then when they come out they don't know how to live, so then now they wind up in the prison industrial complex where they're adults, and
School
then
to prison pipeline. And like I was saying earlier, as long as we keep on relying on these false, fake systems and programs that they have going on in our communities, we're going to keep going around the rat wheel, because they weren't designed for us to succeed. They were
yeah,
designed to do exactly what they've done to us. In
yeah,
1970, there were 70 something thousand people in prison. Now, and by us using the school to prison pipeline and the community programs that they have, then now it's over 800 million. That's not saying school to prison or any program that's going on in our communities is working. So then
listen,
that it needs to be cut off. It is no more talking. That's not working.
yeah, yeah,
And
yeah.
something needs to be drastically done. Asking these people questions, and should we do this? And no, go and read, find out what your rights are, and then move forward, because they're not listening to you anyway.
Kelissa, talk to me, how did you get out? 29, what was it?
I, a situation happened between me and another, well, not me and another brother had picked me up that night. A situation happened, and I went to say something. I went to talk to Bishop about it, and basically he just basically like was, from what I heard what the other sisters were saying, was he's always going to say it's the sister's fault. The sister should stay in her place.
Okay, so power
Excuse
and
me.
control.
Yeah,
That's
I was sick of that. I was sick
self.
of that. So you
Yeah.
mean to tell me that these fools ain't got to have no self control? Don't know how to keep your hands to yourself. You can do what you want. They can, no, time's out. And I was done. So I had talked to a lady named Sarah, and she's what had me and her set up the plan for me to leave during rush hour, like lunch break or
She was
something during that
within
day.
the she was within the compound as well, or was she someone on the outside of that?
She was outside, but she worked for Bishop for the organization.
Okay. 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 And so she helped you with an escape plan.
Yes, she did. Yeah.
Okay.
And a lot of people, I think she helped quite a few people leave.
Okay.
And that's how I knew. I heard that she helped people leave, and so I talked to her one day. I had to work with her, and
Okay.
she told me what to do. But I mean, it was time. Looking back, it was time.
Wow.
It was
Okay.
time for me to grow. It was time for me to learn. It was time for me to evolve. And
Mm.
so,
Which
and
I
that's
think
what
is a
happened.
good segue into this, right?
Oh
Eradicating,
yeah.
right, the slave mentality, doing away with it. Talk to
Woo!
our audience just briefly about this book, and then I'm going to bring up another one that is
Okay.
free, right, to our
Yes.
listening
Yes.
audience as well. And
Yes.
guess what, Kelisa? I'm over here looking at this, and it's saying in the chat, here we go. Here we go. Sounds like we need part two. Our audience is intrigued this evening. Definitely.
Okay.
Let's talk
Awesome.
about this, the eradication of the slave mentality.
Yes. Eradicating the slave mentality. So it says up here the letter, Kelissa Bass letter. And I
Mm,
was irritated when I read the letter. Everyone
okay.
knows the infamous letter. And I
Mm,
thought to myself, well, if he programmed us this way to be against us, then how about we reverse that? Like
mm,
I heard a young lady talking about, and see, I use AI. AI works for me, just like the county government officials and the police and all the judge and all them. They are servants of ours. And so once you know who you are, you're able to put everyone in the place that they're supposed to be in. So Eradicating the slave mentality is stop saying yes to this garbage that they've told us. The one thing I want to make sure I mention is that everyone keeps saying that you're black. You're not black. Black has never been a race. It never will be a race. And because it doesn't exist as a race, as long as you keep saying you're black, then that means you're saying you don't exist. Or how about this? There's a scripture in your Bible that tells you that there was a race that was stolen and that those people are not the real Jews. Now, I don't know if we the real Jews or who is, but we do know that they are not the real ones. So we're the ones who have a stolen or lost one. Because since I've been born, we've been about 15,000 races on the planet. So it makes no sense. How about you got one that don't belong to you, and you got one over here that done lost theirs and can't find it? We can't put this together at some point. So then they tell you, if black is not a race, then what race won't anybody take? Indigenous is a race, but you won't even take that. There's a
Hmm.
law they did in 2010 that says all you got to do is say I'm indigenous and you can get your land and your money back. And we keep on saying, I'm black, black this, black that. Then you keep on telling them you don't exist.
And
That's
it's true, there
crazy.
is money out there for indigenous if you can quote unquote prove to them
You don't have
they
to
will
prove
allow
it. I'm sorry. I need to come back. I
us
need
to
to send,
see.
I'm
Give
going to send that
me
document to you. I'm going to send that document to you.
all right.
And
Give
Trump
us
even
the
signed it. You don't have to prove nothing. You just have to say I am. And who told you to? Ain't that how you create?
yeah,
Just say it.
absolutely. Absolutely.
All you
Absolutely.
got to
I'm
do is
with it.
say you are. That's what the document says. But we
Listen,
too
y'all, when
busy.
she send that document, I'm gonna have to upload it for my people out here.
You gonna have it tonight. Because when I heard about it, I went and pulled it up so quick because I
Wow.
wanted to find out. I love information. That's what I said about the Bible. I wanted to know, why aren't we talking about I am? Who?
Yeah.
You just said that this shall be my name throughout all generations. Who
Yeah.
changed it? And then the kicker is that's how you describe yourself. I
Yeah.
am.
Yeah.
Because you are an extension of the I am. And then this fool out here that got you thinking that you're not an extension of the I am. You're a lowly, weak vessel, that God doesn't love you. And are you nuts? That doesn't even make sense.
I hear you, but let's gotta stay focused on the
Oh,
escape,
oh, the slave.
right?
No, that is part of the slave
Yeah,
mentality. That
it
is the
is.
slave mentality.
Yeah, yeah, yeah.
Because until we understand that we've been tricked, who
Mm,
told you that you were black? Oh, the same people who told you that you were this. Okay, go back and find out what God said about you.
mm.
I love you.
So
You're
what
the
I'm
apple
hearing
of
is,
my eye, like my little baby. How you feel with your baby? That's how God
yeah,
feel about you. So as above, so below. Why won't we
ab-
believe that?
absolutely,
It ain't
absolutely.
nothing wrong with us no more than anybody else on this planet,
Yeah.
except for every other race. They know their grandparents, their great grands. They can tie back to whoever they people were 4, 5 generations, except for us.
Mm-hmm. Oh
Oh, we
yeah.
don't care about that. We don't care about that. Okay, dumb dumb.
So what we
Excuse
looking
me.
at though? Look, she going in on us tonight, y'all. She going in. But you know what? I take it as passion, right? And I take it as
Yes, because
love.
we have got to pull ourselves
Sometimes,
out of the what they
yeah,
used to call it the muck and the mire.
yeah,
Okay, well
yeah.
get
I
the
can look
pulling
them
in.
but we talking about creation, right? And we are trying to create, right,
Hmm,
new
hmm,
creatures with new thoughts, new beliefs about ourselves.
hmm.
So we want to speak life, right? We want to speak
That's
that
right.
good, that
That's right.
positive.
And
So
life has a lot to do with
yeah,
prosperity.
yeah.
And I listen to Reverend Ike a lot. It ain't
Hmm.
nothing wrong with having no money.
Yeah,
And it's nothing wrong with being prosperous. The Bible says, the Bible that you guys carry around, it says, I delight in the prosperity of my people.
Absolutely.
Excuse me? So
Yeah.
who told you that you wasn't supposed to have substance? It's an energy. It's substance. They got you thinking it's money.
I love it. It's
Yeah,
within. It's all
exactly. You
starting
listen,
from
you
within.
are not supposed to be chasing whatever it is you think you're creating. That's not your job. The faith in you feeling how you would feel if you had that thing, that's what's going to make it turn into magic and bring it into your face. Not
Mm.
sitting up running after it, thinking I got to go get it. I got to go get it. No, because that's not what you were told. What you're supposed to do is go inside and get it. How about that job?
Yeah.
You ain't checked into that job yet. You done checked in on this man's job, but you ain't checked in on yourself job, working on yourself. That's a job.
Look at here.
You ain't put no hours in on that time, on his time. That time has paid me a whole lot more than any job I've worked on the planet.
Wow. Wow. I
That
love it. I
job.
love
But
it.
we won't go to that job.
Yeah. Talk to us a little bit, Kelissa, as we start to land this plane.
Okay.
It's
Okay.
been phenomenal.
It's fun.
Again, our guests are engaged.
Okay. We
I
have to
just
do this some
see
more.
Marie. Yeah, absolutely. I see Marie said we have all been
Okay.
tricked,
Let's
right?
get it.
Tricked
That's
by
right.
the enemy. And so, yes,
Everything that we need is here at our disposal. We just have to stop telling a lie to ourselves that it's not. I'm an avid researcher. It's a 300-page document, freedom of information. You can pick it up yourself. When I came back to Ypsilanti, I wanted to pull it up because I saw the two liquor stores on the south side had been
Mm,
upgraded. But the south side wasn't upgraded. So I'm like, well, wait a minute, where's the money going? So I
mm,
went to Freedom of Information. I wanted to find out how much the liquor stores are making. These on the other stores are making, I'm saying these two over here.
what you talking
Two
about? The
point
beer cooler? You talking about the beer cooler?
no, that's not included. I'm talking about Bud and Joe's and Forbes, the
Joe?
old Forbes.
Mm-hmm.
Both of them, 2.3 each, just in
Wow.
liquor only. Not lottery, not food, not nothing else they got up in there.
Right. Not
Just liquor.
cigarettes, not vapes, not right, because they didn't
None of that.
advance in that. Yeah,
So
yeah,
if two of those stores are making 2.3 million per year, that's
yeah,
where your money is going. And then all this other stuff. Carpenter Road is making 7.2 million a year just in liquor. So
yeah,
there's money here, and we have the money. That's why everybody keep coming to our communities to feed off of us because we have the money.
yeah, yeah, yeah.
And so we need to act like we are the lenders, not the borrowers. They got this thing turned around, and so do we.
Look,
Because we keep on
above and
speaking
not
that we're
beneath.
broke. We're
Yeah,
not broke. We're not broke. We got to start speaking life. We need to start. I don't care if you don't, if you ain't got a dime in your bank account. I am a millionaire, billionaire, zillionaire. Steve Harvey said, if your dreams don't, if they're not big enough to scare you, he said that if your dream doesn't scare you, then it's not big enough.
Yeah, yeah,
I
yeah.
mean, throw the noodle on the wall and see if it stick. You ain't got nothing else to lose, from what most people say. So why
Okay.
wouldn't you say that? Why? I mean, you don't even have to say millionaire, billionaire, zillionaire, a trillionaire. Now that's some stuff I'll do.
Yeah,
You
yeah.
could just say, I'm wealthy. I want to be comfortable. I want to live comfortable. And then think about how does that make me feel? Once you feel it, stay on that feeling and ride it out.
Listen,
The
listen, y'all.
feeling is what gets you.
Tonight.
We are magicians, and we have got to start using our powers.
I hear you. So talk to us about this as we again start to land the plane. Um,
Okay.
and you know, Kelissa probably had to bring y'all back. Gotta bring y'all back
I
one
think
day.
it'll be fun. I think,
Uh,
I was thinking about having a round table.
Oh yeah, yeah,
I
yeah.
think
Let's
it'll be
talk
pretty
first.
nice. I
Yeah,
mean,
let's.
talk about issues and things. Think a lot of things that people are really, um, I think, needing to talk about. Even
Yeah,
young people in the community, I hear them complaining about the same things that we complain about, but nobody's talking about it, or
yeah.
they feel
Or,
like
or it's
nothing's going
done
to
in
be done.
silos, right? It's a lot of times it's done in silos in small spaces, but to
Hmm.
open that conversation up, I wholeheartedly agree. Here we have mining for success, 7 keys to
Yes.
achieving any goal or dream. And I know we're not
Yes.
going to really be able to delve too deeply into this particular book, Kelissa, but could you share with our listening audience? Because I believe you said this is a free book that you have.
Yes, if you go to my website, kbwinsproductions.com/contact, send me your information. You're requesting this book, and I'll send you a free PDF download. So
Okay,
it's a
give that
simple
again because
7-day workbook.
where
It's
Kibi wins. Give it to me
K-
again.
KB, as in
Mm-hmm.
boy, WINS
Mm-hmm.
productions.com
Okay.
forward
I
slash
just put it
contact.
up. /contact. All right, y'all.
And so it's not long. It's a 7 page, it's a 7 day workbook, something you can do every day of the week to help build your self-esteem and
And there
start
we
on
go.
the
It's at
road.
the bottom of the screen, everyone. Get your free copy. She has been dropping nothing but knowledge on. And it's not to say that we will all buy in, right? It's
Right,
almost
right,
like they
right.
say, you
Well,
you
he
you
that has an ear, let him hear.
let them hear.
Let him
Absolutely.
hear.
Absolutely. And you also, when looking at this, take the meat, throw out the
That's
bones.
right.
Parts
That's
don't
right.
work for you, let it go. Let
Let
it
it
fly.
go. Let it go. It
What
ain't
you can
time.
hold on to. And I believe our sister has been dropping gems this evening. And there is something that I do, Kelissa, on the show as we get
Okay.
ready to close. And this is called Seeds of Hope.
Okay.
So, this is how we end our show 60 seconds or less.
Okay.
One seed of hope that you can give to the listening audience this evening.
One seed of hope.
Yes, yes.
Oh, wow. Oh, we I've learned going on since I've been on my spiritual journey that you are not allowed to interfere in someone else's ascension. So be a little bit more empathetic to other people and what they're going through, because once you start elevating, and you will look back and be able to understand why the Bible asks a question, your Bible asks a question, am I my brother's keeper? Because you will understand that you truly are your brother's keeper at all times, and them as well for you. But understand that, yeah, you are your brother's keeper, so try to keep that in mind as you ascend and start, growing and understanding and learning about your true self, your spiritual self. And then I'm hoping, I think I'm supposed to use the word hope, I don't know, but that you be a little bit more empathetic with yourself and others as well during your ascension.
Awesome, awesome. Kalisa, this has been amazing. A definite, right? Uh,
Yeah, I was a little nervous here.
inspiring. No, no, you did beautifully. Um, and I know it's not easy to want to, be as transparent and open up because we're all on this journey really together.
Hmm.
And God
Hmm.
has given us our story and our testimony to be able to help someone else. I don't know if you had seen it. One of the comments, there was one of our listening audience guests that said, my sister is in that same compound. And I can feel
I can
just
believe it.
those words
Hmm.
that her heart was going out, right? Like the pain
Hmm.
is associated with her loved one being there. And
And
so,
also feeling like you can't help them, and I understand that, but we really can help them if we use our own creative forces and powers that we've been given. We can help ourselves and other people as well, but we just have to realize who we are and the power that we possess.
yeah, yeah, absolutely, absolutely. And so again, I just am truly grateful for you to come on and to share such a powerful transformative story. And so I see our guests are
Foremost.
saying just thank you. Thank you for being so open and for sharing your story with us all this evening.
No
Before we
problem.
go, there was one of our guests that said, do you have a support system now?
I have a friend, and she's my support system. Um, but all my relatives have passed away. And I have 6 grandchildren and my children. But as far as me personally, no. But I do have a friend. She's been my friend for a long time. But in terms of family support, no. But
Well,
I
I
figured maybe
have
that's just the way I'm supposed to live my life out. I don't know.
Yeah, yeah. Well, in the world of therapy, there is a term that's often used as family, right? Friends,
Okay. Okay.
family. And so our community for sure welcomes you in. I
Oh,
am again so excited and happy to have met
that
you.
hand claps.
Yeah,
Same here. Same here.
you're
I know,
a
right? You got to get the
beautiful
clapper thing
girl.
on
I
the
gotta get that one. I gotta get
uh-huh.
it. Yes, yes. I see here. You have family now.
Okay, okay. Amazing. Thank you.
Yes.
Woohoo. Listen,
So
my publishing company, just throw it out there if anybody is looking for editorial work or to help me build it, grow it, or what have you. I know people have retired and are doing other things, or maybe in college and want some practice or what have you. I'm growing it and I'm excited about it, and I really believe it can help at least put our message and our news out there, you
yeah,
know,
yeah, yeah,
for our
yeah.
community.
And she's amazing. She's brilliant. I love the work that I've seen so far. And again, I want to thank you so, so much for joining me as a guest
Oh,
on
sure. Thank you. It's been amazing. Thank you for
Conversation.
having me. Yep. And I have to come again so we can have more fun, more
Yeah,
talks.
I would love it. I would love it. So at this point, we are going
Okay.
to close out for the night. Let you get some rest. I'm gonna grab some too, girl,
I
and
know,
give me.
right?
But yeah, I haven't even
Oh
eaten tonight.
no.
I'm gonna make certain I go in there and get me some fruit, something light on my stomach, and get ready to lay it on down. But for our guests, thank you so much for joining us on Conversations this
Thank
evening.
you for having me.
We shall be back next week. Conversations 8 p.m. on Thursday evenings. Do not miss it. You all have a beautiful and a blessed night. Take care.
Take care.